everybody, and welcome to another episode of the HatsOff Podcast by 17 Hats. I'm your host, Amanda Ray, CEO of 17 Hats, and we are doing something super special for this week. I just finished a podcast with the fabulous photographer and business coach, Carissa Woo, who also is the host of the Heck Yes podcast. So if you're in photography or the wedding industry, you totally want to check out her podcast as well. And so I'm going to share on our channel our podcast that we just did about automation. She dove into a lot of questions for me about my growth growing up, from growing up to where I came from to how I became working with 17 Hats to automation. And I thought, wow, this would be a great one for you all to listen to as well. So enjoy. Here's Carissa Woo and myself chatting about all things automation and life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Get It Heck Yes with me, your girl Carissa Woo. I am so excited today. I haven't been this excited for so long, but Amanda Ray is in the Heck Yes house. She is the CEO of 17 Hats and host of HatsOff Podcast. I love this podcast. Amanda is known for the insights, candor, and hard truths of small business experience. And you know me, 17 Hats, they are the sponsors for this podcast. I've been using them for, I don't know, over a decade. I've been telling people about this company for years, and people are like, why are you being so annoying about 17 Hats? And I did not get paid for that. Literally, my friends are like, why are you texting me about 17 Hats? So I'm so excited to have you on, Amanda. Welcome.
Thank you, Carissa. I'm excited to be here. And I love your enthusiasm for 17 Hats as well. That's amazing. Thank you for that.
No, my wedding planner friend, Jenny Chloe Mitt, she was literally like, why are you so crazy about 17 Hats? Like this is kind of odd. I was just like, you have to sign up, blah, blah, blah. It's so easy to use. I forgot what I was using back in the day, but everything was seamless. I couldn't wait to hop into the tutorials, back before kids, and I could actually spend time like learning the system.
Right. Before kids, all the things we did, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just so stoked. So today we're going to talk about automation. But before that, Amanda, let's go into young Amanda, where you're from, what you're like growing up, and anything you want to share with the audience.
Oh man, young Amanda. I haven't thought about that in a while. That's really crazy. I grew up in a really small town, like super small town. Whatever you think small town is, like go smaller. Way out and outside of Houston, like probably a good hour outside of Houston. My family, my grandfather was a rice farmer, my father's a rice farmer, my brother's a rice farmer now.
Mm.
And, I think people ask me all the time, they're like, where did you learn like to work hard and where did you learn to like, push yourself and grit and perseverance? And I was like, that was all from my grandfather and my dad, watching them nonstop persevere through that. But, I was just a normal kid. We lived in a small town. I was surrounded by family and friends. I grew up just loving challenges and loving to fix things. I was a fixer, right, with things. I'm the youngest, so I was also the one that was picked on the most, and I was the youngest of all the grandkids. So I was definitely tortured and tormented as a child from my cousins and my sister and my brother. But yeah, I just grew up just small town life, which is so contrasting to what I live now in LA.
Wow. So did you live on a farm?
I didn't necessarily live on a farm per se as like what you would think as stereotypical Texas, right? But my family did. We lived in the town I grew up in was 1 mile all the way around. We had big property lots. And so, yeah, my mom had chickens. We raised animals for the fair. We, surrounded by rice fields. And so I wouldn't say it wasn't like a ranch or a farm per se, but we definitely had the tractors and the barns and the combines and all the jazz.
That's awesome. What was it like? Like, what was the lessons that you learned being the youngest and being kind of picked on and tortured? And how did it kind of shape you to being the CEO boss lady today?
Yeah. It's interesting because, oh gosh, I remember this one time they like put me in an elevator and like pushed all the buttons when my grandmother was in the hospital. So all I did was go like up and down. After watching Children of the Corn, we went out into a cornfield and they left me. Right. So like, yeah, tormenting things. They wonder why I have anxiety now. Um,
Ah,
but I think a lot of it is you learn to not take things personally. Right. And I think when you are in business, you run a company, it doesn't matter how big the business is. You have to remember that some things are just, you can't take it personally. You have to, you have to deflect that almost, and realize they're not attacking you, your character. At that point, it was just fun and games. It was okay. It's not like they hated me. That wasn't it. Right. And I think it goes the same thing with business, right? Sometimes business is just business. It's not personal. It's just the way it is. So I think that's
yeah.
one like really big lesson growing up. And then I also just think coming back to the table constantly, right? Something happens and you come back to the table, you come back for communication. Um, you get frustrated, but you show up the next day,
Mm,
right? That is, I mean, that's business in a nutshell. It's never going to go as planned. It's going to constantly have ups and downs and frustrating points, but you have to come back to the table, right? You have to keep going. And I think that's another, looking back, it's another huge part that I think in childhood, I try to instill my daughter with some of those same things to help shape her as well.
mm. Yeah, I don't read, but I know the Four Agreements, the book. One of the agreements is don't take things personally.
Yep. You can't, because otherwise you just feel attacked all the time, right? And you're never gonna rise. You just gotta let it slide off your back.
Yeah, I think I've been learning that recently because sometimes I would get triggered by something that happened. And then I did a lot of inner work this past year. I did like Reiki and self-help
Yeah,
seminars. And I was like, I was really taking on the energy of people.
yeah,
So if I got like an email about like a student saying all this stuff, it's like their anxieties, I would like take that on, but it like has nothing to do with me.
no,
So I would like take it kind of like as a, oh shoot, like, am I not doing my job because they're not getting leads? So I really had to learn to kind of like deflect the negative energy and like stand in my own like
yeah,
presence.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think, especially with coaching, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? So you can do everything you can possibly do, but you can't. I mean, there's no silver key. You have to put the work in, and if you don't choose to put the work in, things aren't going to happen. So yeah, I think it's hard to be a coach because you do get those people that project their fears and their anxieties onto you. And yeah, to be able to separate that out and say, okay, no, I'm not going to allow this to interrupt my day. I can look at it and see what I can do strategically better.
Mm-hmm.
um, but emotionally, you got to cut that off.
Well said. Let's fast forward to Amanda Ray as high school or college. What were you
Cool.
like? What kind of opportunities did you have?
High school, again, growing up in a super small high school, very sports oriented. I unfortunately had some injuries early on, so I had to kind of get out of sports before I would have liked to. But I really found my love in journalism. Our yearbook teacher, Miss S, which I love and adore still to this day. She created the most award-winning yearbook in the state of Texas. Like, just amazing, beautiful, beautiful publication. And I found yearbook my sophomore year, and I will say that really is what sparked my creative side. It's what sparked me and introduced me really to design. I always was an art person. I was always drawing on the outside or, as for fun. I would draw, when I was in junior high, I would draw Disney. VCR covers. That's what I would do for fun. Right. And so this just took my artistic side to another level, but also introduced journalism to me, writing. And so this really photography as well. So this really opened that world to me that I had never seen. I'm so grateful that we had a fabulous journalism department in our high school, because I don't know that I would have ever found it without it. And so that, 3 years of being in journalism, my last year being a co-editor, my senior year, really is what led me on the track going to college into graphic design, with a influence or emphasis on oil painting. So I did oil painting, photography, jewelry making, ceramics, like all of that. But that, creativity portion of it, is what led me to photography, which eventually I opened up. I started teaching right out of college. I actually went back and got my teaching degree. Um, and then I eventually started my own photography business and left teaching, which then eventually led me to 17 Hats.
Oh, cool. So what kind of photography did you do?
Yeah, in Texas, high school senior portraits are really a thing. And I love them. Coming from high school, I taught high school AP Art History and AP Art. And so, coming from teaching advanced placement, working with juniors and seniors in high school, I really wanted to continue my work with that specific grade level. And so, I really focused on high school seniors. However, like most photographers, you kind of start off doing everything. You took some family photos, you did some weddings, but my main focus was high school seniors.
Cool, cool. You
Yeah.
mentioned you had a daughter. How old is she?
My daughter's 12.
Oh, wow, you look so young. Yeah, because I
I
was,
appreciate that.
yeah, when you said, journalism, it actually was like getting this like inspiration in my head, like, oh, I should kind of push my daughter to get into that too.
Yeah. It's
That's
a
so
great, there was so much to learn. You learned hard work, you learned deadlines, you learned writing, you learned composition, working as a team. There was so much that we learned in those 3 years together that really translated into the adult world. I mean, more than any like science or physics that I ever learned in high
yeah,
school.
that's so cool. This is kind of a broad question, but what was the
Yeah.
biggest lesson you learned when your senior portraits business?
Oh, my biggest lesson from when I was shooting photography. I think it had more to do, I don't know if it's lesson, but I really learned who I was,
Mm.
right? Because I think coming out of high school and high school, you're kind of, your parents are still molding you a bit, right? And you're still taking on all of their beliefs. And then college, you start to break away from that. And I'm a little bit of a rebel, so I kind of went opposite, right? Um, and then, I actually got married right out of college because it was like what society tells you to do type thing. And then we divorced within a year, because after that year, I was like, what did I do? Right? Like, this isn't what I wanted my life to be. It was what everybody was telling my life should be. Right. And so when I got divorced and really started to go into photography on my own, I really started to push myself to the boundaries, started to um, go to places, in myself that I never knew I had before. Right. When it comes to strength and courage, using my voice, standing my own 2 feet, um, pushing myself, pushing my boundaries, and seeing what I could do, not with the help of everybody else, but me, right? And I stopped looking for the silver bullet, and I stopped looking outward for success, and I started looking inward for success. And that was a really pivotal moment, I think, in my life. It's helped me get to where I am, but I had to go through that kind of inner work as well.
Wow. I think that was pretty mature of you, even to, stand your ground and get divorced. That took a lot of strength to know that you weren't in the right situation. So,
Yep.
and saying that, like you looking inwards, I think for me, it took maybe 10 years down the line in my life, but it's like when you were always looking for outside for what is successful,
Yeah.
it kind of, this is a crazy topic, but it kind of makes us never satisfied.
Never.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that. Like, maybe it's easier to articulate now, looking
Yeah.
backwards. But what was it like? What do you mean when you say like looking inside for what success means to you?
Yeah, I think that, when you're growing up, I love my mom. I hope very close. My mom, my sister. Of course, I was the youngest, and so a lot of it was just following in the footsteps of my siblings. Right? This is what your sister did. This is what your brother did. This is what your cousin did. Of course, being the youngest of all the cousins too, of a very, very small town. Right? So I was just one of the last name, right? You really didn't have your own identity because you were just a part of this really big family that everybody knew. And so you just had to continue that. And it wasn't really about, my mom wasn't forcing it on me. It was just kind of the easier path to do. This is what my sister did. This is what my brother did. So I never really got to say, hey, this is what I want to do. So, have you ever watched the movie The Runaway Bride?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember when she eats like every single type of egg to figure out which egg she actually likes because she always liked the egg of whatever partner she was with?
I don't remember, but that's really cool.
Yeah, so she like sat down and ate every single type of egg to figure out which egg did she actually like, right? And I think a lot of times that's what we do. We just like what other people like because those are the people that we're surrounded by. Right? We
Interesting.
follow, which isn't bad. I'm not saying that was bad, but it wasn't working for me in my life, right? I needed to not get the good job and feel successful. I needed to feel successful from the inside, and feeling successful from the inside meant that I had to figure out what I liked and what I needed to do. And, at the end of the day, you only have one life. And unfortunately, this life is really, really short. And so I really had to go in and say, you know, what is it that I really want to do with my life? What do I really want to work with? Because growing up in a small town, it's like, oh, you're going to be a teacher or you're going to be a this or you're going to be a this. And it's like, well, hold on. There's a lot more options out there. So I had to go back and get to know me for who I was versus what everybody told me I was.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's so insightful. I want to like go so deep, but I can't. I know, it's like, that's like it's just like a TED talk in itself. But let's get into like how you started 17 Hats with
Yeah.
your hubby and
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's really interesting because my husband had started 17 Hats prior to meeting me. So we're actually 17 Hats is in its 10th year. We have our 10-year anniversary coming up in October, which is really, really amazing. And I actually came in 2017 as a photographer. I was looking for a studio manager. I'd been through a few of them that did not work for me for a variety of different reasons. Either it was just too difficult or it was too much. Like I was like, I don't need all of that. It was too
Yep.
overwhelming. And that's when I was introduced to 17 Hats. And it was 2017. We were just a few years, 17 Hats at that point was a few years into business. I was sold 17 Hats by the 17 Hats team at Imaging USA, which was in January. And I had told them point blank of, I'm about to go into my busy season, like super, super last rush of senior portraits. Like I have to get this done this weekend. Like this has to work and I have to set it all up in a weekend. And they were like, yes, you're good. Go for it. So I purchased. And when I got home, I had met Donovan, which is my now husband. I had met Donovan there and I had received a few people's email address from 17 Hats because they were like, if there's an issue, just email us. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got home and it didn't work. I logged in and
Mm.
it didn't work. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get the password didn't work that I was given. And so I emailed the support team at that time or like chatted into the support team and said, hey, like I can't get in. And they're like, well, you are a utmost priority. We will take care of that. And then days went by and I still couldn't get in.
Oh my God.
And so, me being me, found the email addresses that I was given and I emailed them all and I said, can you please give me a refund? I was promised this was work. I copied and pasted took screenshots of all the support conversations and sent that in. Well, then Donovan, my now husband, contacted me and was like, This is absolutely insane. I'm so sorry for this. Can you help me figure this out? So, what was going on in 2017 was at that point, we were outsourcing our support. And the which is very normal in the tech world. However, the place we were outsourcing it to just picked up Uber as a client.
Oh my
And so
God.
they were like, screw all of you people. We're only focusing on Uber.
Wow.
Right. So, anyways, that's how Donovan and I really started talking and connecting.
Weird. That's so
It's
crazy.
so
I'm
crazy.
I'm connected to the name Donovan too, because he was
Donovan.
always like on the email threads like Donovan, you know?
Yeah.
So
So
funny.
that is how we connected and started talking. And then in we were also venture capital backed. So the other thing that kind of happened in 2017 was a very pivotal year for 17 Hats. What also happened with 17 Hats in 2017 is that our venture capitalist who owed us a large amount of money, kept saying, go, 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 keep going. And then they come back and say in June, they say, we're sorry, the money's not coming. So I came on, Donovan had me come on to take it profitable, take the company profitable. And so I came on to rebuild and restructure the 17 Hats business, which is how I ended up where I am today. So
I wanna like laugh because this story is kind of funny.
it's crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
And there's so
And
many like missing parts of this because it's like, how did you guys get married?
I know there's a lot.
I
That's a
know.
whole nother podcast in its side.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was just a really, really interesting time in my life to go from shooting photography. I did a lot of restructuring. Again, I said at the very beginning, one of the things that I love to do is fix things, right? Like that's always been my passion and something that I did in and out of like working even in schools that I worked at. Um,
Yeah.
so to be able to come in and really strip 17 Hats down starting in 2017 and rebuild and restructure has been a journey, a feat. We are in a fabulous place now. I love where we've come from, the journey that we've been on, and where we're going. It's very, very
Wow.
exciting. So
I
it's
know,
been a
I
fun
mean,
few years.
you probably structured it, but the interface has always been so user-friendly, and I've
Yes.
referred, like, my realtor friends and my
Yep.
lawyer friends, and they're still like, "17 Hats, you referred me, ha
Yeah.
like, I still remember, but yeah, it keeps improving with automation, so guess what, guys? Hot topic today. What is our hot topic today, Amanda? Why is it so near and dear to your
Wow.
heart?
We're going to talk about automations, process
Woohoo!
systems. I love it. It has been something that's been near and dear to my heart since the beginning. Um, Gosh, process just makes everything better. You're right. And you can't have automation without process. When people come in and say, my business is not growing or my business is not, doing what it's need to do. I need to market. My first question is, well, do you have a leads process? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, do you have lead automation? I'm like, what do you mean? I don't need that. How can I have that if I don't even have any leads? And I'm like, why put in all the work? And I see people do this all the time. They put in all the work and all the money. They throw a ton of money at marketing, but they don't have the process or the automation once a lead actually contacts them to close the deal.
Ooh, okay, let's talk about this. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we know what we're going to talk about. So let's just kind of dig deep into lead automation.
Sure.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. So when a lead contacts you, what happens? Right. So the email that was very traditional for a while of thank you for contacting me. I will respond to you, email you back, or call you within 24 hours. That doesn't cut it. You can't have that anymore. Right. Our world is very instant gratification. Consumers want information quickly, they want information now. They're typically contacting service providers on a whim, right? They're sitting down watching TV, doing other things. They're in their car waiting for their kids to get out of school. They're doing it very quickly,
Yep.
right? So if you don't answer them very quickly, and meet their needs very quickly, their attention is now gone. They're moved on to other things. And what was once a priority right now, 24 hours later, is no longer a priority.
Yeah, you're not hot. It's not
You're
hot.
not hot, right? Also, when they're contacting you, they're probably contacting 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 other people at the same time,
Unfortunately, yes.
right? Another factor that I think we're not talking about enough right now that I think we have to talk more about is that now in 2024, consumers, basically all consumers have been jaded by a solopreneur at least once or have heard a horror story, right? So if you go back to 2000s, 2010, solopreneurs were a thing, but there wasn't the ton of them like they are now. Now, with the immense amount of education through YouTube, free videos, podcasts, all that, everybody thinks they can be a photographer, thinks they can be a wedding designer, thinks, right? So you have a lot of hobbyists kind of looking like professionals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so now the consumer, even more than any time that we have seen in the past, truly needs to know you're a professional, you know what you're doing, you have your shit together. Can I say that on this podcast? You
Mm-hmm.
have it together, and you are responsive and communicative because they're coming in with baggage already from probably another solopreneur or another service provider that has not been communicative, who has not been professional, who took money and ran away, right? So by having a lead automation that is meeting their needs, engaging with them, communicating with them, now your marketing dollar is going further. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, I was just listening to the vendor pod this morning. I just started listening to them. And they're saying like, I think they're called like the pinkers on YouTube, but people were like stealing their work and booking weddings with their photos and then taking the money and running.
Yeah,
Um, so I was
it's
like,
a
oh
thing.
shoot, that's crazy.
It's a thing. It's a thing. And I think, in today's world, instant gratification, we have to level up that professionalism more than what we've ever done. So when we start looking at lead automation specifically, um, I don't want to dive into 17 hats too much, but we're just giving you a little bit, no matter what platform you use. I'd prefer you to use 17 hats, but if not, um, finding a way for the moment they contact you through lead capture form, you are responding to them automatically, but also responding with them in an engaging way, in a personalized way. So a lot of times when people think automation, they think, oh, it's not personalized. I don't want to be not personalized. And I think that there's a balance there. You can be a little bit personalized with your automation for sure, especially if you're using 17 hats through the tokens and how you set things up. Um, but I mean, at the end of the day, what does your consumer want? Do they want quick or do they want personalized?
Yeah, so I'm
Right?
thinking
Like,
like the email could have maybe some videos about you or like a welcome introductory video
yeah,
or you talking, some
mhm,
links to galleries, um, just something like, yeah, instant gratification, something they could click on while they're at that stoplight, you know?
sure. I mean, I take it even like a step further. The people that I've set up, sorry, I'm playing with my little squish ball
I
too.
love it.
The people that I have set up on 17 hats who have had the most success, right? We're sending them down a complete path. So the moment they say, I'm interested in, and they can select from your revenue stream. So if you're a photographer, family portraits, a specific mini session you're
Mm,
doing, a wedding you're doing. So the moment they say, I'm a photographer and I'm interested in your, senior portraits, an email sent off to them that says, hello, with their name. Thank you for your interest in our senior portraits. Here's a little bit of what we do for senior portraits. Here's our average sell. And by the way, fill out this questionnaire. I can give
mm.
them a 5-question questionnaire. And I'm a big, big believer in the number of 5. Anything more than 5 is overwhelming for people. So you shoot them back a questionnaire because other than instant gratification, what's the other thing people love the most? They love to talk about themselves,
Mm,
right? So you're not giving them everything about you per se. because they probably have done a little bit of research. They know enough about you to contact you. But now you're gathering information about them. Why do you want to do this? What is most important to you? What do you look forward to? Um, why did you choose me? Why did you contact me? But you're giving them the ability to gush about their needs and what they want. So think
Mm.
about it. If you're a consumer and you are reaching out to a variety of different not leads, sorry, a variety of different services, and service one sends you an email that says, I'll email you in 24 hours. Service two sends you an email that's all about them. And
Mm.
service three sends you an email that's all about you.
Wow.
Which one are you going to choose?
Yeah, it's all about you.
Right? So that's the type of when I start looking at automation and lead automation in order to close that deal. If you look at the marketing funnel, right, to take them from, interest or consideration to conversion, you have to have what is that thing that is actually going to convert, right? And a lot of times it is giving them the ability to gush. And again,
Yeah.
if you do this, it's no more than 5 questions, right? No more than 5 questions. That's my rule. Um, because you give them that, they're already engaging with you. And people in today's world, they want to engage, they want to connect, especially after COVID. People feel more isolated than ever. So they want to connect, they want to engage, and you're giving them that ability. So therefore, they already have heartstrings to you in your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of my past career and it's like people, even for family shoots, they want to tell you like, someone's sick or like someone's coming from out of town or, this is a special graduation or just, they want to spill their guts of what they're going through because this is like a special time and they want
Yeah.
those photos taken. Um, so yeah, this could be game changer in your business and it's automated.
And it's automated. And I think the reason why they spill their guts is because they want you to understand this is important to them.
Hmm.
And I want you to take it important, right? I want you to understand this is important to me. So I want you to look at this with importance as well. Um, so, if you think about it, you get that questionnaire, they send that questionnaire back and it has all of their information on it. You give them a call and you meet their needs with every question. You're worried about X. This is how we're going to meet your needs with that. You want to do this. This is how we're going to amplify it. We're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this for you. Right. So you get this questionnaire
Wow.
and you can boom, boom, boom right back to them on a phone call, which can be the next day or an hour later or whenever. I don't recommend more than a day. But you just pop back on them and tell them how you're going to meet their needs of everything on that questionnaire and how you're going to get that done. Now you are miles ahead of all of your competition. And most importantly, they trust you. So
Yeah.
if they trust you, they're going to spend more money with you.
Yeah, it's also very impressive. I was on a call with my coaching student yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, like your 10-minute introductory call. Like one time I followed it and I booked it, and then another time I didn't follow up and I didn't book it." So I was like, "These this 10 minutes, this 5 minutes, these 5 questions that you ask, like the type of questions you ask is make or break because."
Sure.
For me, if someone's trying to sell me, I'm kind of like, hey, I want them to ask me the right questions. I want them to lead the call,
Yeah.
like I want them to establish authority. So this is all kind of really mind blowing to me.
That's good though. But I think it is, I think another thing too, when you are a service provider, if you let the client take the reins right from the beginning and control the conversation, now they end up controlling the whole experience. So when you take the reins from the beginning and you start to control the conversation and control the questions, the answers, um, you're very proactive in your communication. That's how you control the conversation, right? And control the journey is by being very proactive. So when you start to do that, you start to push them down an experience or a journey, a client experience, client journey that you have handcrafted,
Yes.
right? Which also then becomes repeatable. And when it becomes repeatable, it becomes referable. And when it becomes referable, your business grows.
Yeah.
So, A lot of people like to try to go off and say, oh, I need to spend so much money on Facebook and I need to do this and I need to do that and all this marketing. And again, my first question is how are you taking care of your clients that you have now?
Totally.
And I get that when you don't have any clients. Yeah, you got to do some marketing there. But how are you taking care of your clients now? Because, you know, if I do an awesome job for client A and client A refers me to client B, and when client B comes to me, my life is kind of, a mess and chaotic, and I don't have any automation and I don't have any process in place, and I don't deliver on time to client B, and I don't do a really good job for client B. Client B is going to go back and tell client A, and now client A is not going to refer me anymore.
Yeah. And then if you do a good job, then it's compound pounding, snowball effect.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
have some automations in 17 Hats where like they get automatic like email, like welcome email, like engagement session, preparation 3 months before the big day, week before the big day. And then especially during COVID, people are like, oh, like you're like the best vendor, the most easy to communicate with. And I'm like, I didn't really even do anything. I hopped on like one call with them,
yeah,
but I think the automation emails are just like, okay, she knows what she's doing. She is giving us valuable information, and just these small automations like could um, kind of give you this longevity of business. I mean, they always say like it costs more to like get more clients and to like just repeat the clients
repeat
that you already
client.
have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, trust is huge. I think we forget how much trust plays a part in if they purchase, if they refer, if they come back, how much they spend as well. And trust comes from actively communicating. The only way you can actively communicate with the amount of clients that you have going, you're juggling in your business is through automation.
Yeah. And then I guess talk a little bit about the marketplace. I am a
Yeah.
contributor. I in
Ah.
process of making a questionnaire, but yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. The marketplace is a newly launched kind of portion or section of 17 Hats. One of the things that happened during COVID, I feel like, is everybody kind of became educators. People were looking for different ways to make money. Let's put it that way.
Hmm.
And so it was like, oh, let me become a coach. Let me become an educator. Let me sell stuff. And so, a part of my job is to do research on the industry of solo service providers. And so I went out and bought some of the stuff, and I'm going, oh my gosh, some of the stuff is so bad. Like,
Ah,
so bad. And we're just leading people down a wrong rabbit hole. And so with the marketplace, what we wanted to do was to be able to connect consumers with verified what we're calling partners. So these are people that we know run successful businesses. They're people that we know use what they are providing, per se. Um, so you should be able to come to the marketplace and know with certainty that you are getting something that is good, right? That has helped them in their business and they are now providing it to you because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel in business, right? There is enough consumers for all of us to be successful. There truly is, right? And so our marketplace partners, and as the marketplace continues to grow and we add more partners, we are looking for real business owners, people who have found success, whether that's financially, there's a variety of different types of success there, and who are willing to share kind of their secrets and what they do and how they do it with our base so that we can all just become successful together, right? And that's the goal. Like I said, there's enough consumers out there to do that.
yeah, and it's something like so basic. Like I'm gonna have a questionnaire on the marketplace, but just this questionnaire that I send out maybe like 3 weeks before the wedding that
Mhm.
says, "Oh, make sure like the room is clean and you
Yeah.
have three rings together. I'm gonna bring the ring boxes, but if you have anything laying around, like bring it for the flat lay." Um, you are able to communicate anything to me throughout the whole day, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. Like
Yeah,
stuff like that's like it's so basic, but it's game changer. Like it can make
it is.
them completely trust you, be like, oh, Krista knows what she's doing and like rave
She's
about
on it.
you. Yeah.
She's on it. I mean, that is the number one thing We want our clients to know throughout the whole experience. We never want them to question our professionalism or if we have our shit together, right?
Exactly.
Like we want them to know she's on it, she has it covered, we're good. I don't have to stress about this.
Yeah, is
So
she gonna
I
show
love
up?
that.
You know, like, does she
I
know
love
about
that.
our wedding?
Yeah, and it's you laugh, right? But we know that that's a true thing. We know that people get the money, they don't show up for the wedding. This is a thing that's happening. So to be able to give that peace of mind to your clients and proactively communicate with them and just to let them know your expectations too. I think we forget that a lot is that because we do this every day, right? We know what we need to do. We sometimes start to assume the client knows what they need to do, right? And so if
But they
we
don't.
can,
It's our first
they
rodeo.
don't. They don't. They don't. So if we can be proactive in that communication and onboard them, this is what I call onboarding, and onboard them to what they need to do, and you can give them information about what you're doing, and then both of you can show up your very, very best on the day of the service so that it can be the best service possible. Right? If only one of you shows up prepared for the service, it's not going to be the best service possible, right? Both of you have to show up prepared, and that is the client and the professional.
Okay, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
You're kind of alluding this before Hot Topic, but what does like 17 hats look like today? You know, after 2017 and coming on and becoming CEO, like what does it look like? I know you're doing so many
Yeah.
like wedding big wedding exhibitions and you're
Yep.
speaking a lot. So yeah, it's
You
great.
know, our vision and mission has not changed. We want to help solopreneurs succeed and we want to help as many as possible. But obviously as time grows, as we grow, as time goes on, how we help them changes depending on society and the industry in general. And so, I think we're still very true to our core mission of keeping it simple. We want it to be easy to use. We do not want to bloat the platform, meaning provide you with every single little thing under the sun so that you get super overwhelmed about what do you need to do. So we're still definitely sticking with that core mission, keeping it easy to use, but of course, making sure the depth is there. So easy to use doesn't mean that it's not robust, right? Our every time I go to design a feature, it is how do I make this easy to use, but allow it to still have the robustness and the completeness that we want it to be as well. And so we will continue on that path. And then again, just finding other ways to help our members succeed within the platform and even outside of the platform.
Yeah, it definitely is very simple. I got to give you guys that. I always
Yeah.
ask this question. You were a photographer, now you're a CEO, but you talk
Yeah.
to wedding professionals all the time. So, talk to the hearts of wedding professionals, maybe struggling to get things off the ground, or maybe they've been in business for a long time and they just don't see the leads coming in, and
Yeah.
they're feeling kind of defeated. Like, what advice would you tell them today to get out the funk?
Oh, I think it is a few things, right? Things aren't going to go right the first time ever, or the second time, or the third time. Sometimes it's the 10th time before it goes right. But I also think it is, for to not be too cheesy, it's the hat that you wear, right? So if you want to succeed, you have to put your success hat on and you have to, my mom always used the phrase of like, put on your big girl panties, right?
Yeah.
um, you have to really step into that role, right? And say, okay, if I'm going to be successful, what do I need to do? What changes do I need to make to be successful? It all starts with you. It doesn't start with anything else. It starts with you, right? Do I need to just get tougher? Do I need to put in more work hours? What do I need to do? I need to believe in myself, maybe, right? And then start looking at going, okay, after I have my belief and my stance and what I need to do and success pulls out different things from you every time. Every time it's going to pull out a different trait of you. So when you step into that role of I am going to be successful and I am going to make this work and I am going to figure it out. And I do believe in myself to do this. Then you start looking at the whole picture and go, okay, what do I want to be successful in? What does success look like for me? A lot of times we're just in it and we're doing and doing and doing and doing and doing, and we never look at the bigger picture. So if you can just raise yourself above and look at the bigger picture, what does success look like for you, and aim for that? You don't have to hit success in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or in a year. There's a reason why when you look at vision for your business, vision's a thing for business. Your vision might not be today or tomorrow, it's 10 years down the road. And hell, you might not ever hit your vision. But the other part you got to look at is what are the milestones towards that vision? And this is the part I think people skip. They think about vision and where they want to go, but they don't say what is the first milestone for that. And it doesn't have to be a huge milestone, right? What is the second milestone? So usually when you do vision, there is a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and vision, right? So if you haven't done your 1-year plan, your 3-year plan, and vision, I would totally do that. That is what I would recommend doing. Pull yourself above and then go, okay, if this is my 1-year plan, what are the actual tactical things that need to be done to hit that 1-year plan? And start there.
That's really good. I wish I heard that when I started my coaching business, because it's like I was like miserable for a year straight, and just I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, wow, is it worth like being miserable? But it's like it doesn't happen, all of a sudden in like a year or two, but maybe that third year. And like you said, like the vision and these milestones. But if you're hitting those milestones, you are going to get to the big vision
Yeah.
in 2-3 years. So I think that's a really good mindset shift.
Yeah, I think the other thing you have to remember too is I think social media has kind of warped our perspective on this, is that, you usually come to a social media account and see them when they already have 100,000 followers or plus or whatever. And then in your mind, you're like, oh, that took them no time, when you've never actually seen how many years before they've been putting in the work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Anybody who is successful, there is years of work that has been put in to be successful. So it doesn't happen overnight. And I think with our instant gratification world that we live in, we want it to happen overnight. And it's just not, that's not how it works. You have to put in the work.
Yes, I mean, I didn't get you guys to be my sponsor till over 100 episodes, or any sponsor, and I put
Yeah.
in all that work and over like a year and a half to get my first sponsor. So
Mhm.
I can't thank you enough, and it was my
Welcome.
favorite, like number one top choice sponsor, because I've been using you
Awesome.
guys for forever.
It's our
But
pleasure.
yeah, rapid fire questions. What
Yeah.
is your biggest mom hack or time hack for you
Oh,
being a CEO of a huge
yeah.
business?
I just did my Mother's Day podcast was kind of about this, that we just launched last week, or this week. Um, take joy in the little moments, right? Your kids don't need a whole like extensive thing, but they need you to show up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that showing up can only be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And so there are specific things I do with my daughter and even my stepson, to make sure that we still have a strong connection. They could walk to school every day, but I drive them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that is 5 to 7 minutes that I get with them, one on one. We are talking, we are communicating, we are going through, if they have a test that day or whatever, how do you feel? You're gonna do great. Like, so I'm working with them through that and showing up and communicating with them through that. So, show up for the small things, right? It's those times right before going to bed, um, dinner time. Put your phone away, talk to them, communicate with them, because showing up for your kids is, I think, the most important thing. It doesn't mean showing up to every sports game, but it is showing up for every emotion.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I literally had to train my brain to, like, when I wake up, not to work and just to focus
Yeah,
on family until I drop off the kids. Like that, I literally had to like restructure my brain, because right when I woke up, I'll be like, "What do I post?" Blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
Like no, like family. Take that time. It's so special. They need me. So
And I
yeah.
think the other thing too is just communicating with them. Like if I have a big project or I'm working on something, I'll let them know, hey, I need 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of them coming back and forth and then me feeling guilty and them getting upset. I need 10 minutes. I need an hour. I need 2 hours. Like
Mm,
whatever it is, just being very clear with them
mhm.
on the boundaries too of this is what I'm doing and this is what I need this time for. And then once this time is done, we can do whatever. And holding truth to both of those, using your time, but then when that time is done, you know, working with them.
Totally. Biggest social media hack.
Oh, I'm not a social media person. I'm
Podcast growth hack.
I am not even that person. That is my team. I wrong person to ask.
Okay.
So
I
bad.
guess last question. How do you get your best heck yes?
Aw.
Or what's your biggest
That
anything heck yes related?
heck yes. Man. I think the biggest heck yes is when, everything works flawlessly because of the process that you don't even realize is there.
Mm,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
And you're like, oh, yes, this was amazing. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that was amazing because we have developed this process to make sure it was amazing every single time.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It's like a breath of fresh air.
There you go.
I guess you guys use my promo code heck
Yeah.
yes to get 50% the entire year, 17hats.com or 17 hats on Instagram.
Yeah.
Um, one little story is I've worked with like different photographers and wedding pros, but I've worked with people that's been in the game for a decade and they don't have any CRM,
It's
which is crazy. So you don't even know if people like paid you or how much you're going to make like next month or how much you made like in a year or quarterly. So it blows my mind. So start now if you're listening, if you're new, get on it right now. It's very affordable.
yeah.
And get your life straight, get some automations in place. It is the most liberating thing ever. Take one day, lay in your bed and start watching a couple of tutorials, making some questionnaires, your contract, checking on the marketplace.
Yeah.
Just learn about automation. It's going to make your life so much easier and it's going to make your business so much more seamless and flawless and enjoyable so you don't resent your business.
Yep.
So hop on it. And then Amanda, tell everyone about your podcast,
Yeah.
and so they could start like engaging and following you.
Absolutely. So my podcast is Hats Off, and so we dive into real world business talk every Tuesday it drops. So wherever you listen to podcasts, that is where you'll find it. It's on YouTube as well. But man, I just share my experiences, our customers' experiences. How do you utilize 17 hats better? But it's real. Just we dive in everything business and go at it.
Yeah, it's so good. Check it out, everyone. Thank you, Amanda Ray.
Thank
This
you
is
very
an
much.
amazing conversation.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Carissa.